All right, we're looking back at Sunday in the NFL. Chris Hassel, Danny Kanell, Leger, Douzable. Leger, what team impressed you the most yesterday?
The Miami Dolphins. I mean, being down by 21 points late, and then Tua Tagovailoa. People kept saying, this guy can't throw the football. He can't do this. He can't do that. 4 straight drives to end that game to put Miami in front of the Baltimore Ravens to win. Now, the defense struggled in the first half, but they made some stops in the second half. They were able to slow Lamar Jackson and that offense down. But again, Tua Tagovailoa, I think it really started for me at the end of the second half when he found Mike Gesicki in the back of the end zone on 3rd and 13. Danny, that's a big boy throw. I'm talking about hitting your tight end, helmet and higher, where you have to be in the back of the end zone. He hit him right in the money for a touchdown. That kind of led to them coming back, the confidence that this offense had in the second half. I mean, 2 receivers go over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. Again, Mike McDaniel has a lot of faith in Tua Tagovailoa. We know Tyreek Hill has a lot of faith in Tua Tagovailoa, but it seems like the team is really galvanizing around Tua Tagovailoa, and they have a lot of faith in their new head coach, Mike McDaniel. So the Dolphins really impressed me because I wanted to see what they would do when they were, hit some adversity, right? They were down big in this game. They were able to put it together. The defense showed up the second half, and then Tua just played out of his mind that second half and led them to a win.
He was phenomenal. Are you aware of Tuanon? You guys know what Tuanon is?
Oh, they're a real thing.
Woo,
they're a real thing
so
now.
After the game,
is that his fan club?
Oh,
yeah.
And they defend him. So after the
Really?
game, there was a stat, somebody put out a tweet with his stats. And all I put was very sarcastic, like, well, every ball was underthrown. Like, joking. And I'm telling you.
They came after you.
Oh, yeah.
They real now.
Yeah, they were coming after
Wait, you were stirring things up on social media? No way.
Never do that. But no, it was phenomenal. I think that would be a career-defining moment for Tua, where you start looking at him differently. I went with a similar quarterback who's taken a lot of criticism and a lot of heat, and his career's been a little bit up and down. I went with the Arizona Cardinals and what they did against the Ravens, coming back from 3 touchdowns, the fashion with which they came back. I have been critical of Kyler Murray, and I looked at a quarterback that had to have a clause of 4 hours of film study, and there was a quote that he said, I don't need to study much film because I see things before they happen. And I thought it was garbage. I'm like, come on, get in there and get to work. But he silenced everybody like me because most of those plays, including the 2-point conversion where he scrambled around for 20 seconds and was able to find a way to convert that, was phenomenal. It was truly remarkable. You saw one of the most athletic quarterbacks we've seen directing traffic back there. It was unbelievable for him to pull that off. It was phenomenal to watch.
I mean, Danny, as a defensive lineman, I had nightmares. Nightmares
and what
watching
do you
that.
do? I mean, there's nothing you
two-man
can do.
rush. What can you do as a defensive lineman when a guy's running a 4-3 and he has the quickness to be able to shake you and buy time? I mean, he had some crucial drops in that game. Hollywood Brown had a potential, game-winning catch for 4th and 1, put them in field goal range to win it. He ends up, not catching the ball, gets knocked out. I think Harmon does a good job from the safety position. And then A.J. Green had a crucial drop, but then comes back at the end of the game. That 2-point conversion, Danny, that throw, that's Pro Bowl, all-pro type throws. I mean, from his height, and not to, take shots at Kyler Murray, but I don't know how he saw A.J. Brown. It was literally through like 3 different defenders in the back of the end zone, and he put it only where A.J. Brown could catch the ball. That was big time. Also, I've been critical of Kyler Murray, again, putting a clause in his contract saying that you need to study more film. Literally, I'm a defensive lineman. When I played, I studied more than 4 hours of film. So a quarterback, that's nothing. But what Kyler Murray did, putting that team on his back, that could be the change of the season-defining moment for Kyler Murray and this Arizona Cardinals team.
And the Raiders hope that's not a defining moment for them. That leads us into our most disappointing teams of the week, and the Raiders are one of those for you, Lee.
It was 1 and 2. I went back and forth. The Bengals are right up there with them, but the Raiders, I mean, being up 20-0, right? 23-7 late in that game, and you just collapse. Hunter Renfrow really struggled the week before. They couldn't really get him the ball. They got him the ball, but in back-to-back plays, fumbles the ball. He's fortunate enough they played before somebody jumped on the ball, but then he fumbles it in overtime with a chance to win the game. I mean, the Raiders' disappointment. I had them as the 3rd team in the AFC West, maybe potentially fighting for a playoff spot, but we've seen the history, right? Since the NFL's went to this 14-team bracket, no team that started 0-2 has gone to the playoffs, so the Raiders are extremely disappointed in them. Even as bad as they played in week 1, they still had a chance at the end of the game to win it there. They don't do that. This week, have a chance with a big lead up 20-0, and they just collapse.
I always judge these games by who's going to have the hardest time sleeping after, because you kick yourself and you're like, man, if I would have done this, or this differently. Yeah. When I look at what the Browns did against the Jets, I think they are going to have the hardest time sleeping because for 331 straight games, We've had teams that have led by 13-plus points have gone ahead and closed the deal.
Yeah.
The Browns found a way to lose against the Jets. And it was a great comeback from Joe Flacco, made some nice throws, but the clock mismanagement and the opportunities for them to close it out, stay in bounds, kneel on the ball, just clock it out, and the game is over. For them to mismanage that was one of the more perplexing things for the NFL. And I know Kevin Stefanski took a lot of ownership of it, said, hey, that's on me. I have to remind the guys. But you're Nick Chubb. You've been around a long time. You have to know as a player as well. I appreciate the coach stepping up in that situation, but I'm almost like, what, does he have fantasy points or something? He's worried about, like, what is happening?
But there are people arguing that he did the right thing, that you go up 2 scores there, but not when the game's going to be over if you just go down.
Exactly. You've got to know in that situation that the game is dead. All you have to do is kneel it. It's not like one of those ones where you kneel it and they get it back with 10 seconds even.
Yeah, it's different
if
the Jets had timeouts.
Yes, the game goes to 0, it's over. That one, to me, was one of the more disappointing performances.
I think what's perplexing is it's 2 weeks in a row, right? They kind of let the Carolina Panthers back in the game last week without having the big league. Now, I'm glad my Jets were able to be on the beneficiary end of it this time because, what'd you say, 2,000-plus days since that happened?
Games.
Down 13 points with a minute, 30 left, and they come back and win. You saw Kevin Stefanski's body language. It just looked bad on the sideline, and he can't go out there and play defense. I know him and the defensive coordinator probably had a heart-to-heart after this game.
Break this down for us. How did that happen?
I mean, first and foremost, right, it's 2nd and 1. Corey Davis, you're playing cover 3. 3 deep. You got 2, flat curl defenders and 2 hook defenders right there. You see Denzel Ward. What are you looking at? Get deep. You're up 2 scores right now. Let them catch everything underneath. It looks like he was trying to steal one from Tyler Conklin coming across. You'll see him coming across right here in the flat after he tips help. But look at him. He's looking back at the quarterback. He's letting Corey Davis just run right past him. It's cover 3. Get deep. And then Grant Delpit, he's the hook defender, but there's nobody there in the hook. You can get deep too, right? You want to play deep to short right there, Danny and Chris, because you're up 2 scores. The one thing that can hurt you is an explosive play. And they gave up a big explosive play to Corey Davis. Corey Davis just runs a go route. He just runs right past Denzel Ward, who's a Pro Bowl corner, who's a really good player. I just don't know what he was looking at right there. Again, I think he was trying to steal one from Tyler Conklin coming out into the flat because Joe Flacco that game had thrown a lot of flat routes, had thrown a lot of checkdowns. I think Denzel Ward was trying to steal one, but you have to do your job in that scenario. You're up 2 scores. The only thing that can hurt you is if you give up a quick score, and that's exactly what they did.
It was similar to the Tyreek Hill play when he got behind him. Like, how does the fastest player in the NFL just walk behind you with nobody even paying attention to him? There was some massive blown coverages in a bunch of these games yesterday.
And a lot of teams kicking themselves and a lot of pressure on some of these teams mounting already. We asked both Danny and Leger for the teams that are facing the most pressure going into next week's games, and you look at a team that was in the Super Bowl and so close to winning the Super Bowl a season ago, the Bengals 0-2, and they got to go on the road.
That for me, and it's against the Jets. No offense, but like, this is a team.
They won last year there.
That is right. But the expectation from the fan base and from the odds makers is going to be, you should win this game. Yeah. And when I look at the Bengals, this was a team that was supposed to have corrected their issues along the offensive line. They went out and made a couple big acquisitions to fix it, and they haven't done any better whatsoever at protecting Joe Burrow. And yet he still put him in a position to win that one. But 0-2 to start. We've seen Super Bowl losers with massive hangover seasons the next season. I'm worried this is shaping up to be that for the Bengals.
Well, to speak on that, Danny, right, I think the thing that people have to understand, right, on offense is they usually start slower when the season starts, right? And Joe Burrow and his offense didn't play any preseason games, right? I believe he had the appendectomy surgery, came in late. Lyle Collins was banged up in training camp, came in late. I mean, 13 sacks in 2 games is ridiculous for all the acquisitions you added to that offensive line. The one thing you really wanted to focus in on was protecting your Pro Bowl quarterback, and they have not done that at all. It actually looks like it was worse than what it is last year. I mean, again, and Joe Mixon, he's a pivotal piece to this offense, hasn't ran the ball effectively, and that goes on the offensive line as well. They haven't opened up any holes. So the Bengals, I think, is a big head scratcher. Again, a lot of teams have had that Super Bowl low, but I don't think anybody saw the Bengals dropping off this bad. And to your point, they still had a chance to win both of those games, even though the offense played downright horrible because the defense kept them in the game.
Leger, what team do you think is facing the most pressure?
To me, it's the Indianapolis Colts, and I guess we're going to get to the point where we keep saying that this team just is a quarterback away. Maybe they're not just a quarterback away. I mean, Matt Ryan was supposed to be the guy, the veteran, the wily veteran, come in, be able to run the offense. Now, granted, they didn't have 2 of their top pass catchers in the game. But I don't know what it is when this Indianapolis Colts team travels down to Jacksonville. They cannot win. I believe they lost the last 8 against Jacksonville in Jacksonville. They were down 20-0 at one point, and they got blanketed in that game. I mean, Christian Kirk, people, kind of scoffed at that signing. He looks like he deserves all the money that he's getting right now. And then on the defensive end, right, DeForest Buckner and Yannick, they haven't been able to get to the quarterback. Yannick Ngakoue was a big acquisition via trade this offseason. It hasn't really paid dividends. Now it's only week 2, and it's still the AFC South, so they still have a chance now. They might be the one team that changes that narrative of 0-2 being able to make the playoffs because that division is so bad. But, I mean, look out Jacksonville. I mean, they had a chance to be 2-0, right? They kind of tricked that game off in week 1. Last week, they showed up big. That defense showed up. They were flying around. Trevor Lawrence did what he was supposed to do, looked really good. And again, Christian Kirk, I know a lot of people scoffed at it. I liked him in Arizona. Looks like he's on that borderline of becoming a true number 1 receiver.
Leger, Danny, stick around. We're going to look ahead to tonight's games, Monday Night Football, get some picks and props in just a minute here on CBS Sports HQ. Pick 6 podcast has you covered on all things NFL. Will Brinson and crew, download and follow today.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.